What are your thoughts on planning? And it could be planning for anything, work, just day to day, your weekend even.
I'm very type A about it. Very, I like to know what I'm going to be doing every second of the day, even if I'm just at home. Even for like the weekend stuff, I'm like, all right, this is what my weekend is going to look like. This is how much time I'm going to spend on this. To the point where it gets stressful. Like even going on dates, I'm like, I've turned down a lot of dates just because I was like, dude, you didn't give me enough notice. Now I can't squeeze you in. And literally all the things I'm doing is maybe going to the park or I'm going to the gym or maybe cooking a meal. That's not, yeah, I'm a bit anal like that, and it's not a good thing. For vacations, especially, I need to know exactly what all I should cover.
I had something similar happen recently when I traveled as well. But in that situation, I felt like I was the one who had to initiate that idea of like, it makes sense to go early.
Yeah.
It makes sense to do it this way because these are the reasons. And going back to what you said, it can hurt you at times when you are that fixed with these ideas of if we don't get here by this time, I'm going to somehow take away from the experience that I would have otherwise had if I got there early. It goes back to something that someone actually told me. And this way of doing things, it was the way they phrased it is like, Pranay, you're not a human doing, you're a human being. So just be in the moment sometimes. It's okay to just be.
But dude, I mean, when we've gone in groups and we've been like, all right, let's just relax and not figure it out. Essentially, after the trip is done, or not the trip, say we've gone on a hike, everybody's clueless. So like, oh, now what? Or nobody's planned. Everybody's hungry. There's no water. And then you're like, fuck, the one time I thought I'm gonna relax and somebody else is gonna take charge, there's no one. So, I think I don't know about friend circles, but I think in a relationship there needs to be a balance. I think there always has to be one person who does think about these things, who does consider what the pros and the cons are, who does think what the worst case scenario might be. So you're prepped.
Yeah, balance is the key, but it's never 50-50, I'll tell you that.
No.
And
No,
it's
of course
never, you don't want it to be 100% you planning everything and the other person's kind of like, you do what you got to do and I'll show up. Because at some level, if I do want to get to that place where I'm enjoying and I can be in the moment and not worry, I need for whoever I'm traveling with or whoever I'm with at the time to sort of support me or at least help provide that balance. And
Yeah.
that's the real challenge.
I mean, if somebody says, all right, we're going to do exactly, Gupta, what you've set out to do, I'm actually okay with that. What I've come to realize over time is that it never works that way. If you're in a group of friends, you need to give space to everybody else because this is not just about you. It's very rare that people are like, hey, you know what? I'm going to leave it all to you and I'm going to do exactly what you tell us to do. That never happens. You can have a general plan, but everybody needs this space to explore and you need to be okay to go with the rhythm. I think over time, I've realized that. And I know people who haven't realized it. There are people who continue to be that way in their 30s. And guess what? People aren't happy about it. People don't want to hang with such people. Their partners might be okay with it, but the extended group of people, they're like, you know what? He's a bit too much.
I do get frustrated if things aren't going to the plan I had in my head,
You're
which
not
is,
that extreme.
but at the same time, these are expectations I can have of myself where if I want to go out for a bike ride on a Saturday morning, I can go do that. That's on me whether I do it or don't do it. The problem comes when I have made plans to go out with friends for drinks or out to see a movie with people. And there's this sense of, I don't know where everyone is. We're supposed to meet at this bar at 6 o'clock and I'm here at 5:45 waiting. And people just amble in when they're ready or, people get delayed and things happen. That's where I can feel that sense
Anxiety.
of, oh, there's definitely anxiety, but I also know that I over the years, now having had a kid and I've had pets, I've learned to sort of back off a little more. Like it's just it comes with the territory, and it's become easier to sort of accept that everyone's on their own rhythm. Everyone's just, you can't plan for other people. You can say out whatever your plan might be, going back to what you said, but at the end of the day, everyone's just going to either agree, disagree, do their own thing, come along with you. And not being reactive in that moment is the key, and that's the hardest thing to do.
I think the controlling part of just being that organized has its pros and cons. I think when you're trying to relax, it's hard. But if, in terms of productivity in your day to day life, um, in terms of planning your finances, your future, I think for all of that, it's fantastic to be that kind of a person. You should be that sort of a person. If anything, if you're the other way around, where you just leave it to destiny and you're like, oh, we'll figure it out. And before you know it, you're 50 years old and you haven't saved a penny because you never got to it and you've believed it'll work out and God will take care of you. Good luck.
On the one hand, you do get rewarded for being that type A, that organized, that planner,
Yeah.
whether it's with your money, whether it's with your time. People appreciate that, and you get rewarded, whether it's fiscally or whatever. But at the same time, it does not translate well to your personal relationships, and there's no purpose for you to go hang out with your friend. There is no end purpose that, oh, we must have this much fun when we hang out, and for that to happen we must meet at this time and be here for this many hours. That doesn't exist. There's no constraints there, and that's where it doesn't translate well, and it is harder for someone who is doing well with the planning on one aspect of their life to bring that, now to kind of toss that out the window when you're hanging with your family or with your friends, and just be like, hey, there's no agenda here.